It's a Wild Wednesday here on KFAN, and we're taking your talkbacks for tickets all day long. Use the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app and tell us who on the Wild is due for a breakout game. Winners will be selected all day for Wild versus Red Wings tickets tomorrow. Get the details at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's 10B. Hour number 2, which is the 1 o'clock hour, begins with 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
In the state of hockey.
The Wild were 15 seconds away from at least 1 point when this happened.
Right side, Suzuki trying to get around Stern. He did. Nick Suzuki got off near the goal line by Tarasenko, so he lobbed it back up top for Hudson. Once more, Suzuki on the pop-out play. Caulfield scores. Cole Caulfield with 15 seconds left has put Montreal in front 4-3.
Yeah, Joe O'Donnell with the call last night right here on the Fan. Cole Caulfield scores with 15 seconds left in regulation to give the Canadiens a 4-3 win over the Wild last night in Montreal. Vladimir Tarasenko scored 2 power play goals. Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello each had 2 assists. The Wild finished their road trip with a 2-1 record. Common, your thoughts?
My thoughts are this text message that came in at 12:56:30. Bradshaw Bryan KFAN text line anticipating 534. Fire up the excuse computer. Common, Tenna about to talk about the Wild. So do you have an excuse for him?
Not at all.
Oh, you don't?
They did not play well last night. They were vastly outplayed. And actually, it was one of those games where they almost got a point or 2 in a game that they did not deserve to get that. So it's frustrating to be that close to at least getting to overtime and getting a point. But the justice was served because Montreal was the better team throughout that game last night. They were dominant in the first period. They've got some good young talent who can skate and got some speed, and the Wild did not bring it. They spent the majority of the game in their defensive zone. They were very passive in the defensive zone. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just explaining what happened.
Oh, okay.
The Wild are fortunate at least that they got some power play goals to keep them alive, and Volstead played pretty well throughout to give them a chance, but Montreal was a better team last night, and they deserved that result.
He had 13 saves in the first period.
But if you want me to do excuse computer, back-to-backs in third game in 4 days.
Yeah.
They were tuckered.
13 saves in the first period alone. That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he gave up 2 goals, but yeah.
Oh, there's that.
But it was not on him last night. They came out right away and had a bunch of chances that Volstead kept the team around for a while.
All right. I didn't see it, so.
Question number 2.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
I didn't see this one either, but I got plenty to say.
Do you ever see any of these?
No. Isn't it funny how I have a lot to say about the Wolves when they lose, but I don't about the Wild?
Well, the Wolves have lost 3 straight for the second time this season after falling 127, 122 last night in Utah. Keontae George scored a career-high 43 points, and Yusuf Nurkic had a triple-double with 16 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists for the Jazz. Minnesota had a 15-point lead late in the third quarter, but shot just 9 for 30 in the fourth compared to 17 for 25 from the Jazz. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's loss in Utah?
And the reason that I don't have much to say about the Wild, more about the Wolves, and you have a lot to say about the Wild, but a little about the way we balance each other out. I'm part of the basketball community. You're part of the hockey community. You handle the hockey part. I handle the basketball. Here's what I have. This goes to show you how it seems like in the NBA more than any other sport where people will, a 2 or 3 game or, week stretch can make you get really excited about a team, okay? This is Michael Randball, writes for the Fish Wrap Factory on the West Side, right? Does a great job. This is what is the date today?
Today is the 21st.
On the 15th, this is what he wrote. And he's referring to a national guy, but it says, are the Timberwolves suddenly NBA title contenders? This is 6 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago, the Wolves stumbled into one of their worst losses in recent memory. Now there's an emergency national narrative about their championship chances. It's emerging nationally now. There's a groundswell there, and he quotes a national guy. Where's his name? Somebody named Zach Lowe. You familiar with him?
He's a writer, yeah.
He writes, speaking of podcasts, respected NBA boy Zach Lowe talked about the Wolves on his Jan 12 episode with guest Richard Jefferson. He said, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves could win the championship. He said, praising Edwards and the Wolves' success on both offense and defense. If we got to the end of the season and the Timberwolves won the championship, I would not be blown away by it because I think they're that good. And they are a good team.
Well, I mean, they've been in the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years, so you probably shouldn't be blown away by that.
So 7 days ago, this is what we were talking about. Championship aspirations. Now, I think this is the gamer from the Fish Wrap Factory West Side. Not long after playing some of their best basketball at the start of this month, the Wolves have now lost 3 straight in just the second time this season. With this loss, one of their worst against tanking Utah. With the Wolves at near full strength and having a rest advantage, Utah entered the night on a 4-game losing streak.
And now we're the 7th seed in a play-in game right now.
So it's like, and I don't even know what this means other than the NBA, you can't take anything that happens in the regular season seriously. A team can go on a 10-game winning streak, forget about it. Team can go on a 10-game losing streak, forget about it because it doesn't matter. I think most of it just matters what mood they're in and how they're feeling. And if the inferior team says, looks like they're not really trying tonight, we may as well. I know that sounds like I'm oversimplifying things and I have this conspiracy theory, but I'm just telling you until I see different, that's what it looks like to me. And I guess that's okay because like I say, right now the Wolves are in that 7th spot. I can pretty much tell you they're going to go on some nice winning streaks here, and they're also going to have a couple of losing ones, and they're going to end up being in the top 6. And then from there, then it's time for me to go, okay, I can actually now go to a Timberwolves game and watch because now I'm going to see real effort, start to finish. It's not going to be coasting and going through the motions. Not going to see bad teams beating good teams. And, bad teams sometimes beat good teams, even when good teams are trying. But more times than not, I think it's just, we got a long season. Let's just get through the 82-game schedule. So 6 days ago, we were talking about title contenders. The national narrative says this club can't be stopped. And now we just lose 3 games in a row, including one of our worst losses of the year to a terrible Utah.
Also, it was yesterday that Mark Rosen had already declared the Rudy Gobert trade. Wolves won this trade, home run trade for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Keontae George scored 43 points for the Jazz last night. You know how they got him? With one of the Timberwolves draft picks in the Rudy Gobert trade. Not to mention, the draft picks we're giving up is over a 9-year stretch. So we're still a long ways away before seeing the thing play out, Mr. Rosen. But all I know is Keontae George scored 43 last night, and it was the former Minnesota Timberwolves draft pick.
I can't find my brilliant.
That we traded in the Rudy Gobert trade.
I can't find my brilliant. Sounder, but there you go. Yeah, very much. Well done.
Question number 3. It's time now for the lowdown in Dinkytown.
The Gophers men's basketball team lost 82-74 in overtime last night at Ohio State. Jalen Crocker-Johnson scored a career-high 26 for the Gophers, but John Mobley Jr. scored 26 points for the Buckeyes. Minnesota falls at 10-9 overall and 3-5 in the Big Ten. Common, was that a devastating loss for our Minnesota Gophers last night?
It depends on what your expectations are for the club. I mean, they once they started playing this year, had some nice wins over a couple of ranked clubs. For me, expectations were raised. So, yeah, it's, I would say, disappointing, not necessarily devastating. They still, they aren't the most talented team. I think a lot of it's this coach's system. They does that. The players have bought in. This looks to me like you got to really work hard, start to finish, both offensively and defensively when you play for Medved. They don't they call this that Princeton offense? Isn't that what the thing? I mean, it might not be identical to that, but constant players moving, ball, we a couple of the when you read the gamers or you listen to people that I trust talk about this Gophers club, they'll say, they had this many baskets and this many guys touched the ball during each possession. In other words, it's not just one guy coming up the floor, playing hero ball, trying to beat a guy one-on-one and then hitting a pull-up jump shot, right? It's like plays they're running constantly, the ball moving. And, and in the handful of times I've watched the Gophers this year in a couple of games, that's what I seem to see as well. They like to move the ball around. And so it's a good style of basketball. First year, I don't know what my expectations are. I don't think they're going to make the NCAA tournament, but they have a couple of quality wins against teams that were ranked. That would have really helped because I don't think Ohio State's ranked. They're just an okay club at best. That'd be a nice game to win. And did I read it right? Did you say this? I really wasn't listening. I was just waiting for my turn to talk. They had a couple of looks late in the game, with just, to win the game. They or at least maybe sent it to OT and they missed their shots. But yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't call it devastating, but yeah, it's growing pains. We'll see. I'll give the guy you give the first year. I can't really expect miracles, right? So we'll see how it goes. But I think right now they seem to be better today than they were at this time last year. So
could we do a quick one?
Yeah, sure.
Question number 3.
It's a big move.
It's now time.
I was wondering how long you were going to wait to get to this, or we're just going to bury it.
The Twins acquired utility man Tristan Gray from the Boston Red Sox today in exchange for minor league catcher Nate Baez. Gray batted .231 with 3 homers and 9 RBI and 78 MLB at-bats last season. He has defensive experience at all 4 infield positions. Common does the addition of Tristan Gray excite you?
It's a preempt, to be honest. I kind of knew where you were going. No, I guess not. I'll still watch in early March. Can we get them on TV now? Are they going to be out? Do they have a TV?
Do we know any indication?
I've told you this before. I like the beginning of the baseball season because I get done at 3 and they have so many early starts, 3 o'clocks, 3:30s. So I can go home and, the weather's starting to get a little bit better outside. I can crank open the windows. I'm thinking about golf and I'll watch a little bit of early season baseball. And then once they end up going 2-10 in their first 12, I just stop watching. So, but it doesn't do. We know where the franchise been, where it's going, and where it's at. It doesn't seem like it's good right now. We'll say this real quick. This text messenger says, longtime texter, first-time listener, I like to listen to you eat on air. I find it relaxing.
Huh?
I think you should start a podcast of just you eating on the air. I might do that.
Huh?
Well, you've heard things will blow up like that and go viral that are just, like, for instance, when the one guy was skateboarding to Dreams by, a guy's skateboarding to Dreams, and it went viral. How about a radio talk show host just eating on the air? Maybe that would go viral because it's so stupid and so uninteresting, and people seem to like those kinds of things. I mean, look at the success of Meat Sauce.
Huh?
So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll start that podcast sometime soon. There you go with 5, 3, 4.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
The fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is check. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Rock Talk next. Rock Talk with Brian Oak.
The 2026 Progressive Minneapolis Boat Show sails in the Minneapolis Convention Center January 22nd through the 25th. Check out a wide selection of boats and boating gear, must-see attractions, and fun for the whole family. Get the full details and find out how you can register for a new 24-foot DACA dock now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
14 past. I'm Common. He's 10 to be, and we're excited and delighted to be joined by none other than Brian Oak.
Allow me to assure you the delight is mine and mine alone.
It was 20 years ago today. So I reeled people in today. We were talking about.
I heard you, and it was delightful. And I almost texted in on the Bradshaw and Brian text line. Still the Bradshaw and Brian text line?
Still the Bradshaw and Brian text line.
I almost texted in, but I didn't want to be accused of taking the bait. And the only reason I was going to text in is because the actual opening song on the White Album is in my top 10 all-time Beatles songs. Back in the USSR and to start that album that way at that time with that song, it just proves why the Beatles are the Beatles. But Sgt. Pepper's also fantastic.
They did it. That McCartney wrote the song for a couple of things. One was an answer back to the Beach Boys in California.
Oh,
Girls. And that's why they do the ooh ah, in their song, knocks out girls. They do the
it's absolutely
Beach Boy thing.
It's a parody, it's satire, but it's absolutely the Beach Boys.
But also was Chuck Berry's Back in the USA.
Exactly.
Too, right? So it was kind of the combination of the both. And
but then also the just even using the topic at a time when, remember, the Cold War is still at a feverish pitch by the late 60s. And so to have it be back in the USSR, of course, the people who were already worried that the Beatles had damaged the establishment were now convinced that they were agent provocateurs for the dirty commies, and that it was some sort of genuine tribute to the USSR as opposed to just the giant, beautifully executed laugh to kick off one of the largest, messiest conglomerations of rock in history. That's why White Album, it's not their best record, but it's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's in my top 10 all-time albums.
Yeah, I enjoy it as well. And, it's, and then, of course, remember, it started out with the sound of an airplane coming in and then landing and stuff, which is stuff. Now that's not so, but back then that was, look at that. They got these sound effects of a plane. It's such a cool song.
The Byrds had a song called Foxtrot 242 they still do, technically, I suppose, that does the same thing. It's about, the life of the jet set lifestyle, and it starts out with some really cool sound effects and has them throughout. And hey, you can make a good plane playlist if you want to.
So, I always last week, what was the story we had? It was,
which one?
The guy that was charging $200 a song or $2,000.
Oh, Vinnie Vincent, $2,000 a song. So that if you were to get all 18 or 19 tracks on his, what he claims is the greatest album of all time.
Correct.
But just $2,000 for a track. But then the thing is, he knows that once you get a taste of that kind of rock excellence, no price is too high.
And then he said, and if you don't buy it, that's fine. No one, the greatest album of all time will go unheard. I love that cockiness. And he just said, he believes it too.
Well,
he just matter of factly says, and you know what? People think I care. If I don't get the money, that'll be the greatest album that just goes unheard.
That's just never sold.
Yeah, and people won't even hear it.
Yeah,
you'll never get a chance to hear the greatest. Here's another one now. Rock band cancels 40th anniversary tour after singer demands more money.
Wow.
Have you heard this one?
Which, who's the band? 40 years. That puts it right in my wheelhouse.
A popular rock band has canceled plans for a 40th anniversary tour after the singer reportedly demanded to be paid more than his bandmates.
Oh, no.
Poison had long been planning 2026 concert to mark 4 decades since the release of the 86 debut record, Look What the Cat Just Drugged In.
Uh-huh.
But every rose has a thorn.
Here we go.
Plans fell through because lead singer Bret Michaels wanted to be paid 6 times as much as his bandmates. That's according to Ricky Rocket, who's their drummer.
Let's be real clear. At the very, very, very baseline of this entire conversation is that Poison was never that great. All right. They had to look, absolutely. And the songs were exceptionally pedestrian, not noteworthy. They hit a lot of people right in the feels at a very important time in life when hair metal and that kind of glammy hair metal was at its absolute zenith. So they matter as part of that story and that timeline. But the songs are not enduring and they're not that great. And CeCe DeVille on guitar, Ricky Rocket on drums. I don't know why I know so much about Poison. I know more than I probably want to. But
Bobby Dahl on bass.
There we go. So, I mean, you've got Bret Michaels would go on to do Rock of Love, obviously, and became something of a C-list celebrity reality show.
And a solo artist.
But name one Bret Michaels solo song.
He did go by himself because I've seen him.
He did.
Bret Michaels in concert at
But he
TI.
considers himself to be bigger than them. I am a little surprised. I mean, it would be even audacious, I think, to say, I expect to be paid twice as much, 6 times. Well, that's a bummer. There's a lot of people who are going to, and actually there are. I shouldn't be quite so dismissive. There's a bunch of people who this will probably bum out a great deal. But again, if you really look down deep in your heart of hearts, is it worth getting upset over Poison? Who cares? They're shooting themselves in the foot. Bret Michaels, you're an idiot.
Here's what Ricky Rocket said.
Ricky Rocket.
We had a great offer, I thought, but we left the table. Really, what it came down was CC
DeVille.
He's the guitarist.
And the famous line from Talk Dirty to Me, CC, pick up that guitar and talk to me. And then you get the wicked guitar solo.
Bass player Bobby Dahl and I were all in. And I thought Bret was, but he wanted the lion's share of the money to the point where it makes it not possible to even do it. It's like $6 to every one of our dollars. You just can't work that way.
He wants more than half the money.
Yeah. Michaels, Rocket, DeVille, and Dahl were all part of Poison's lineup when they exploded on the glam metal hard rock scene in the 80s with MTV and radio hits Talk Dirty to Me and Nothing But a Good Time.
Exactly.
And the number one smash, Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
That was the big power ballad.
They last toured together in 2022 as part of the stadium tour with Motley Crue. Feels like the first time. And Def Leppard, Rocket Man. Hot-blooded. Check it and see. Rocket told Page 6 that he's not angry with Michaels, saying it'll be like hating your parents. Love that. It'd be like hating my parents. But
That's
could
good.
Poison tour without its original vocalist? Rocket explained. It's not out of the question, but doing that is like surgery. It's the last resort. I don't want to do that. I'm not quarreling with Bret. We just didn't come to an agreement. I don't like it, and I'll say that, but it's not like, let's put up our dukes. I don't think there's a better front man for Poison.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I guess that he would be in a position to know, unlike few others, because he's actually in the band. And again, there is a star factor, unfortunately, to Bret Michaels that would get people in seats, which is what the ultimate goal of a big fat tour like this is. Whoever is putting it together is not going to pony up that kind of money for a Bret Michaels-less Poison.
Yeah.
But of course, it's very on brand for Bret Michaels to be demanding 6 times whatever anybody else in the band is getting.
Someone just sent me a text.
Hit me.
I don't know if this
It's
is
probably
true.
a Poison fan. I grew up with a lot of them.
No. This one says, the Vinnie Vincent songs are free on YouTube. So,
well, I guess now we can go judge for ourselves, and then, should we feel so inclined, drop $2,000 per.
yeah.
Good times.
Could very well be it. We'll take a break. We'll come back on another segment to go with Rock Talk. Here with Brian O, Common Man, and Antenna B right here on the Pan.
That one teacher who believed in us. Show your gratitude with Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate a public school teacher to win $5,000 for their classroom. This week's winner is Alexis Hallman, a special education teacher at Woodland Elementary School. Nominate a teacher to thank today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Smack dab in the middle of Rock Talk, or pretty close to the middle of Rock Talk. I'm Common, he's 10 to be. Brian Oak is with us. And,
hello.
You know, I know you're a lot like me, and you really don't like to talk about yourself. You don't like to blow your own horn, but I think you've been nominated. I've been told through the grapevine, a little birdie told me, you've been nominated for a pretty major podcast award.
Not
Is that
bad,
correct?
not bad. Well, so the podcast, The Brian Oak Show, has been going on for a little over 6 years. It is 90% Minnesota music or regional music, and then the other 10% are things like entrepreneurs and artists of different disciplines, like filmmakers. Yesterday, we had a celebrated Minnesota filmmaker on who's got the 25th anniversary showing of one of his classic films coming up at the Parkway Theater. So in any event, it's very Minnesota focused, and as such, MSP Magazine, Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, is putting out their annual Best of Award this spring, and I was informed that I have been nominated for Best Local Podcast. I'm up against a field of 8. Thank you. Again, not that really means anything in practical terms. It doesn't come with a cash reward like the, Nobel Prize or whatever, but it's still nice and it's cool. And if people felt like going there and voting for my podcast, if you've ever listened and you actually like my podcast better than any of these others, then I'd love a vote, but I'm not really out here stumping for it. But it's kind of nice to be recognized because I've been doing it a long time and I take a certain level of pride in it.
I'm glad you do.
Thank you.
It shows, and people can find that. But how many episodes now?
546.
So we're approaching 600.
Yeah, we'll get there before year's end. We do a couple every week.
Very good.
Yeah.
And you can find it on the iHeartRadio app.
Absolutely. Anytime you like. And if you find out you listen to some of these last couple ones, because other recent ones too have been amazing. Liz Winstead, we had Peter Jesperson on. We talked to a really cool range of Minnesota-oriented artists and specific, pretty much mainly musicians. But if you find out that you like one or two of them and you like the role of the show, the vibe of the show, there's music in every show, then you have a very, very large archive to go back and peruse through that free iHeartRadio app.
When Oak laughs, I picture him standing over a tortured kitten. His laugh creeps me out.
Now, here's the deal, dude. I'm a cat guy, so pick anything else. Say panda. Yeah. Say, marmot. Anything. But first of all, I would never stand cruelly over the top of an animal. And my laugh, that's more joyful. That's more like Ghosts of Christmas Present from A Christmas Carol.
I like it too.
Exactly.
I mean, you could. It is a little. You could be if they were doing an animated where you just do the voice, right? And they said, we need an evil laugh.
Yeah.
You could apply for it.
I could. Well, just all I can say then to not only that emailer, but to everyone listening out there, just be thankful that I use my powers for good.
Yes, very much so. Some other music announcements. We're adding performers to some list, right?
Well, so the Super Bowl, we all know, to much controversy and hullabaloo, but again, one of the smartest decisions the NFL's ever made. They got Bad Bunny at halftime, but there are other people who are going to be performing this year, performing America the Beautiful early on, which is a tradition, because this is a whole day long event, right? 6 hours of pre-show, cut to this entertainment here, that person there. Well, one of the lights that I'm looking forward to is Brandi Carlile. I think one of the most important and interesting and wonderful and enduring vocalists the last 15 years or so. She's going to be up there singing America the Beautiful. Love Brandi Carlile deeply, and I'm looking forward to that. And then a band with heavy Minnesota ties and a very long history of doing what they do. Green Day is going to be performing the opening show. There's always an opening act when you got a big headliner in the halftime. So Green Day is going to be the Super Bowl opening act. And Billy Joe Armstrong, the frontman, said, quote, "We are super hyped to open Super Bowl 60 right in our own backyard. We're honored to welcome the MVPs who shaped the game and opened the night for fans all over the world. Let's have fun. Let's get loud." End quote.
I think my favorite Green Day song is Clocks. I just love it. I really do.
I know. Yeah. It's a great song. Let's be honest. That's why they're one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, mine too. This one says, you don't have to like the Brian Oak podcast, but you have to respect it.
And if you feel so inclined, go ahead and throw me a vote.
Yeah. And then there's this one. I nominate Common Man and Brian Oak for teaching me music on Rock Talk.
Hey. Aww. Well, I mean, it's my favorite thing to do is talk about music, and that's another reason right there. I'm really not trying to turn this into a listen to the Brian Oak Show podcast promo piece. But if you like to talk about music and you like to learn about music, my big phrase is always learning. Every time that a guest comes on, they have to pick out 3 songs to play. And I do that because one of the best ways to get inside someone's head and to learn things you've never known before is to have the guest pick the music. And it works out great. I absolutely love it. A lot of times they're musicians, so they'll play their own stuff, but everybody has to pick 3 songs, and it's a good little 45-minute adventure when you're looking to talk music and hear some new music.
Were you or are you a big Pearl Jam guy?
I respect Pearl Jam. I like Pearl Jam. In the grunge era, there are about 20 other bands that I like more. But they're good. They're inoffensive, and there are times I think they were probably genuinely pretty great. I remember going to see their 20th anniversary tour at, what's that place out in Wisconsin? The big one, outdoor.
Somerset.
Yeah, is it Somerset? I was thinking of a different name, but yeah, it probably is Somerset. And anyway, they're easily the most successful act to come out of the Pacific Northwest with the whole grunge explosion. But yeah, they're all right. I'm not huge. Why? What's going on?
Well, Eddie Vedder is going to do a solo tour in Japan.
Well, yes.
I didn't know Pearl Jam and Eddie Vedder were big in Japan, but maybe.
Well, I think he's kind of big everywhere, and he's done solo stuff before, so this doesn't surprise me. And yeah, he's just the kind of artist that could probably go and spend a few weeks on a very successful tour in Japan because they got that big. He's a worldwide name. So's Pearl Jam.
I had this we used it. You weren't in last week, so I used this bit with Lil B. So people that were listening, Tenna B was participated in this. They will have already heard this, but I want to get your opinion on it, or just your guesses.
Hit me.
What was the United States' 10 most played songs of the 20th century? 20th.
Wow.
Not up until, 2025.
Yeah.
But of the 20th century. Let me see if you can guess the song. Now, this is according to BMI ASCAP. Right?
I understand.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that keeping track because that's how artists get paid.
That is correct. What song do you think is the most played in the 20th century?
Now, is this going to be a little eke around? Like, is it like an In the Mood by
No.
Okay, no. So this is all stuff that we would second half of the 20th century.
You'll know all of these songs.
All right, the number one of all, let's go with...
There was a song written by Barry Mann, Phil Spector, and Cynthia Weil. Or is it Wheels? How do you say her name?
Sure.
Weil?
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm trying to... So, who was the first guy?
A duo. Barry Mann.
And this was number one.
No
duo.
song has ever been played more than this one.
On the radio, in general, record sales, what are we talking about here?
It says,
the most played, probably, yeah?
It says,
okay, so radio and that kind of stuff. In the 20th century, internet hadn't really happened yet. Not in the way that it's obviously come to happen. I'm stumped. Because it's not the Everly Brothers.
No, it's the Righteous Brothers.
It is. Unchained Melody.
You've lost that love and feeling.
That's number one. That song was played more than any other song for an entire century.
Number two, Tenna B had heard of this, and he enjoys the song. Lil B had never heard of it before. The Association.
Along Comes Mary?
Never My Love.
Never My Love. Oh, I was listening to the Association's greatest hits this past weekend. So now really Never My Love is now that is surprising because that means somebody in that band made some real mailbox money.
Written by Donald and Richard Adrisi.
Okay.
Well, it is because, it's that song that asks the questions. It basically says, we played it last week.
I can sing it start to finish.
Right. So
you wonder if there'll come a time.
Right. And
when
so
I grow tired of you.
And that's why I think it's played so much is because
it's a love song.
Well, yeah, and
an
gals
epic
particularly.
Love song. Yeah.
I mean, when a guy's saying that, that's everything. So that's why it's there. Number 3.
Hit me.
Yesterday by the Beatles.
And see, I would not have been surprised to hear that at number 1. In fact,
that's the most covered song.
Correct, which would lead me to believe that it might have also been the most played. But so far, this list makes sense. The Association, that's way higher than I would have guessed.
Now, I also learned this about this. You think you know everything about the Beatles. I thought there's nothing you can tell me that I don't already know. I read this. By the way, do you know that there is somebody writing a story about the Beatles every single day? Because I get a new one on my phone all the time. This is like they broke up in 1970.
Yep. I was 2 years old when they broke up, and I'm 57.
And I still get a story every single day.
That right there speaks to the impact and the enduring legacy. And you just, for people who are like, I don't see what the big deal is. Well, I'm sorry that you're missing it. And you do by no means are obligated to like them, but you can no longer just say, not a big deal. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. They were the biggest band that ever existed.
That song, apparently Lennon didn't like it at all.
Of course he didn't. He didn't write it.
He not only did not write it, but I think if I read it correctly, it's the first song ever done where it was just one Beatle on there was nobody else on it.
Right.
Because it was orchestration and him playing guitar. So he did the whole thing by himself, and because it was so popular, I think there was a little envy and jealousy.
Of course there was. That was kind of that's a foundational psychological pillar of John Lennon and everything we've come to learn about
Number
him.
4 was a Ben E. King song.
Sitting on the Dock of the Bay?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Stand By Me.
Stand By Me.
There we go.
Stand By Me.
I got confused.
Number 5, Frankie Valli. You're too good to be true.
Really?
Oh.
I mean, I know it was gigantic, but number 5 throughout the whole 20th century.
Think about it, because it was, when was it? Was it done in the late 50s, early mid 60s?
Yeah.
So you think of all the years.
And it's the sappiest of sappy love songs, which seems to be a predominant theme through the top here.
Number 6 is a song you just said. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Oh, yeah,
Number 6.
I mean, and there's not one person who's hearing our voice right now who's like, sitting on the Dock of the Bay? I don't think I've ever heard that.
Which song is at number 7? It's a Simon and Garfunkel song.
Number 1 all time has got to be The Sound of Silence.
Nope. I would have thought too.
Let me think. Don't tell me. No.
Well, it appeared in a movie called The Graduate.
Yeah. Is it, well,
it was a lyric in that song was a direct message to the Beatles.
Your clues are not making me closer; they're making me farther apart. Because I'm starting to lose the thread here. I don't know.
Mrs. Robinson.
Oh, yeah. And again, let's be honest.
Cuckoo-ca-choo, Mrs. Robinson. Right? That was Cuckoo-ca-choo,
Mrs. Robinson. Exactly.
From the Beatles.
Yeah.
Number 8, the Four Tops.
What's the song?
Baby, I need your lovin'.
Got to have all your lovin'.
This was the one that I never would have guessed in a million years. At number 10 was a Ray Charles song.
It's Not What I Say.
No.
It's I can see it.
George on My Mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have that one.
Hoagie Carmichael wrote that.
Okay.
Along with Stuart Gorell. Number 9, I would have never guessed this in a million years. The Cascades. Rhythm of the Rain. Listen to the rhythm. But I would never have guessed, like you with some of these others, I would never have guessed that.
But you think about all the times that's been placed in a movie during the sad scene or a montage or used on television. And, but basically we're looking at the facets of love with all these songs, right? I mean, the more heartstrings and feels and the more cross-gender appeal of these kinds of songs lead to a much larger audience and much greater success. That all makes sense to me, but there are some definite surprises on there.
There's your top 10. Let's go ahead and let's dive into
Rock Rank.
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 We're going to keep it local today, since you're talking about internationally best of all time. We're going to keep it local. Brian Oak, I want you to rank your top 5 favorite Minnesota bands of all time.
So we're keeping it local because my podcast, The Brian Oak Show, has been nominated for the best local podcast through Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, and you can go to their website right now. Voting goes until February 10th. Is that why you... Okay.
That's exactly why I brought it up.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Tenna. A little you scratch my back, I scratch your back. The best Minnesota bands or artists of all time. Obviously, there are some strong feelings regarding this because Minnesotans are about as provincial as Minnesotans get. And so I am going to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous list making because I went with my heart and my gut and my personal tastes as opposed to what the people expect. Yeah. Coming in at number 5, it's a tie. It's the only tie on the list, but I couldn't pick between the two of them because they both matter to me so much. One is the Twin Cities trio Semisonic. They enjoyed great radio play during the 90s.
Closing Time, is that their song?
Yes, and they also had a bunch of other great songs. Right. If you want stuff that's not a hit, listen to that album Great Divide that they put out.
Great album.
It remains one of, thank you, I agree, Tenna. It's one of my favorite Minnesota releases of all time. They absolutely have to be on that list, but also I would be remiss if I didn't include...
Meat Sauce and the Whalers?
Not yet. Well, we're only at number 5. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right, I'm sorry.
Is Atmosphere, and really with them, the entire Rhymesayers collective. Doomtree, also an amazing collective, lots of great independent rappers in the Twin Cities, but Atmosphere put the Twin Cities on the hip hip-hop map in America in a way that it had never been before, and have maintained that for decades and decades and decades. And them and Semisonic, they have to be on the list, but I only had room for one of them, so they both can share number 5. Number 4, arguably the most critically acclaimed band by every music hipster on the planet that ever came out of the Twin Cities. And this would have been, you'll see this list that I'm about to give you really looks like a 57-year-old white guy's list, so just bear that in mind. The Replacements. The Replacements are at number 4. Some people would put them at number 1. Some people would put them in much higher regard due to their importance, their impact, their enduring legacy. Never giant commercial superstars, but that only kind of adds to the reason that we love them all the more, because we know of the potency of the songwriting, and that's why it is so enduring. And there wasn't really anybody else like them. They were absolutely ramshackle, and also wrote some of the heart-wrenching and uplifting songs of my entire generation. So the Replacements are at number 4.
Can I guess who you have at number 3?
Yeah.
Gear Daddies.
No, but they should. They're on my honorable mentions list.
Okay,
I would love to. Why are you doing that?
Well, because I'm just throwing. I don't know all the names, but that name popped into my head.
And they are spectacular. What's that? Well, I mean, and that's, some people would look at it as their novelty song, because that's another band. If you can get,
it is.
Let's Go, but it's also a great song, and there's a reason it's so enduring, right? It's like the Suburbs. Cows is probably their best known song, and some people would look at that and be like, that's not a song, but it is.
Stupid Boy's a good song with the Gear Daddies.
Oh man, all of it. Color of Her Eyes, Statue of Jesus, pick them.
Yeah.
Those Billy's Live Bait and Let's Go Scare Al are
Billy's Live Bait.
Yeah, are two crucial Minnesota releases. But back to the list at hand.
Number 3
is the Minnesota band that I have seen live more than not only any other Minnesota band in my life, but more than any other band in my life. I've seen them. Yeah, I'm just going to throw out this last stat. I've seen them absolute bare minimum, because I started seeing them in my teen years, and I've seen them throughout my entire life. I've seen them a minimum of 50 times. The number might be closer to 100.
Husker Du.
Not yet.
Oh,
we're not there yet. No, also on my honorable mentions list. The Suburbs. The Suburbs are important. Again, not international superstars by any means, but when Minneapolis became Minneapolis before Seattle became Seattle, and suddenly in the 80s, Minnesota and Minneapolis in particular were an absolute music hotspot. It was nationally one of the places. People moved here because of the music scene, and the Suburbs, along with the Suicide Commandos, but these were really the first 2 highest profile bands that kind of kicked down that door and turned this into a welcoming place, an oasis amidst the cornfields for all these alternative bands that were springing up around the country to do their DIY stuff. The Suburbs were a huge deal, and I've just been a fan my whole life. I think they're still great.
That's number 3?
Number 3.
Number 2.
Rocket Club.
Maybe the most important Minnesota band to me personally, because they did more to change my life from a musical perspective than any band had before, and probably since. Husker Du, the legendary Minnesota trio that sort of defined what hardcore, what screamo, what emo would all become later on. These almost unlistenably loud and ferocious guitars, wild drumming from Grant Hart, Greg Norton pogoing everywhere playing the bass, and just these howling, soul-searching lyrics. As an angsty teenager myself, I know that's going to be hard for you to imagine, Common, that I was sort of moody and did a lot of brooding.
No, really.
I know, it's shocking, but Husker Du, they hit me in a way that no band has ever hit me before, and I think their music endures. They didn't make it that long. They were broken up by 87, and but I still think of them as the Kings to this day, but they didn't take the number 1 spot.
Well, number 1, I think...
You are leaving some big names off then.
Oh, no, I've only got 1 spot left, and there's only 1 artist there.
Well, it's Paisley Park Guy, right?
Well, Paisley Park Guy.
Yeah.
Wow. Right? The disrespect for me.
I'm not disrespecting. It's Paisley Park.
So I know, and this is going to be controversial.
You don't have him at number 1.
What?
You don't have him at number 1?
No, I was going to say I don't have Dylan at number 1.
I have him in your top 5.
Because Dylan's, no, he's not.
I didn't even think about that.
Important? Absolutely. But again, like I said, I'm going with my gut, and I don't.
You don't have to like this list, but you do have to respect it.
Exactly right. Exactly. And yes, of course,
well,
number 1.
For a podcast award.
Number one is, I think, without question, whether we're looking at it, objectively or subjectively, is Prince and the Revolution. Specifically, the Revolution era for me, but really Prince's entire body of work, his restless innovation, his creation of a genre that didn't really exist before him. There was some absolutely sexy funk coming out of the 70s, but then you mix it with this sort of dark, robotic, menacing new wave, these incredible drum machines that he made sound organic and alive. And just the people that he had come before, he knew he was standing on the shoulders of giants, but there's Little Richard in there. There's Jimi Hendrix in there. There's things that hadn't existed before.
Right.
And that wasn't just felt here. He created this whole sound that was mimicked throughout the 80s, well into the 90s. And everyone in the world, virtually, it's not Michael Jackson level, but everyone around the world, no matter where you go, knows who Prince was.
I would put Dylan ahead of Prince.
I know you would.
Because
And many would. Many would.
But that would be 3-2, not my number one.
I got you.
My number one band, Minnesota all time.
Really?
Dave Wagner and Crow.
Well, I'm not mad at that take. I mean, again, when we're talking about personal taste, no two people like exactly the same thing. None.
So no Lizzo.
Well,
no Bob Dylan, no Soul Asylum.
Do you have 30 seconds? Here's
no Morris Day in the Time.
Listen, here are the honorable mentions I have written down. Soul Asylum, Gully Boys, Bad Plus, Jayhawks, Atmosphere. Well, I already put Atmosphere in there, but Doomtree Collective, Farm Accident, Charlie Parr, Honey Dogs, Birthday Suits, Dessa, Trailer Trash, Suicide Commandos, Rifle Sport, Dosh, Lizzo, Malman, The Blew Up, Polara, Gestures, The Castaways, The Trashmen, all that 60s contingent.
You don't have the Crow? You don't have Crow in there?
I'm not a big Crow guy.
Have you ever really listened to him?
Well, I mean, I guess I haven't gone on a 3-day retreat with nothing but my Crow albums, but I mean, I've listened to Crow enough, yeah.
You used to walk you home, baby, after school.
They're not bad. They're not. I just can't put them in my top 5.
They're the best Minnesota band.
You should stop by the record store I worked at because we got no shortage of Crow records over there for you.
It's just they're so
Come by
good.
any day after work.
I told you this before. Went to go see one of my favorite bands of all time. This is how big it was for me. It was April 7th, 2007. I remember the date. I'm at what's the place out in Hamlin?
Hamel?
No, Hamel.
Or Hamlin?
Hamel.
What are we talking about?
Medina?
Medina Ballroom.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
In Medina Ballroom. I'm going to see John Cain Steppenwolf. I get there and the guy goes, "Thanks for coming. Much interest to you. Dave Wagner and Crow." I haven't thought about Dave Wagner and Crow in like 50 years.
Right.
I hate Ashbury, so I'm going, no. That's the best concert I've ever seen.
Well, because that unexpectedness, that also led to my best concert I've ever seen, and maybe we can talk about that next time.
Let's do that. It's always good to see you. And again, if they want to find your podcast, it's simple,
podcast is available through the free iHeartRadio app, and if you'd like to vote for it because you like listening to it and you do think it's the best podcast in the Twin Cities, head over to mspmag.com, and you can find where to vote there.
That's Brian Oak. He'll be back next week for Rock Talk. The legendary Mark Rosen's next here on The Fan.